106 years ago, on this very site, Mrs. S. F. Roach, president of the Alamo Mission Chapter, celebrated Alamo Mission's first Texas Independence Day celebration. I'm honored to be here in her place. I'm not sure she's honored that she's not here, but I'm honored that I'm here. And we want to be, we're going to, in just a little bit, recognize the descendants of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. But today, we have expanded that ceremony to honor Fox Tech, which you all have already heard is our oldest public school in San Antonio. We are extremely honored to have all our distinguished guests and guest speakers, and Aline Summers, who is the chairman for this event, is going to have the opportunity to introduce them to all of you.
It is my privilege to recognize our distinguished guests for today's program. We are particularly honored to have with us this year the Lieutenant Governor of our state, Dan Patrick, who will be introduced in a moment by Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush. As Mary Weiser mentioned earlier, this program has been a tradition of the Alamo Mission Chapter of the DRT for over 100 years. This year, we have partnered and worked closely with the Alamo to produce this event. I want to recognize Becky Dinnan, the Executive Director of the Alamo Foundation, and Douglas McDonald, the CEO of the Alamo, our partner in today's program. We have with us today the President General of the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, Barbara Stevens. She drove in from Houston this morning. As we have said, today we will be honoring Fox Tech Health and Law Magnet School. The principal of Fox Tech is Jennifer Benavides, who is on our stage. In our audience, we have with us Pedro Martinez, the SAISD Superintendent. Speaking in tribute to Fox Tech today is a distinguished alumnus of Fox Tech, Roy Barrera Sr. As I mentioned earlier, we've partnered with the Alamo on this event. The Alamo is under the supervision of the Texas General Land Office, which is led by Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush. Commissioner Bush is with us today, and he is going to introduce our distinguished guest, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who honors us with his presence. Please welcome Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Ms. Sommer. As a native Texan, military veteran, as your 28th Land Commissioner, it's my solemn duty and great honor to be the steward of the cradle of Texas liberty. Who we are as Texans started here, and who we can be as a people still lives here. I give a special thank you to the Daughters of the Republic of Texas today, the oldest patriotic women's organization in the state. You stepped forward to save the Alamo when it needed saving the most. So I thank you for caring for the shrine of Texas liberty throughout the years. There will always be a place for you here at the Alamo as we ensure that 1836 lives and breathes every day on these hallowed grounds. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the Lieutenant Governor of our great state, Dan Patrick. As an important voice for conservatism and preservation both in Texas and across the nation, Lieutenant Governor Patrick's a leader in the fight for life and liberty, two important principles that we as Texans have always honored, starting right here at the Battle of the Alamo. He's been an important partner in our efforts to preserve and protect the Alamo, and we're thankful to have his presence here today. He's shown great enthusiasm for projects like our cannon restoration, which we unveiled earlier today, while presiding over the last two legislative sessions in the Senate, and also witnessing the state of Texas commit unprecedented funds along with the city of San Antonio behind the work that we're doing here at the Alamo. So I thank you for that. Outside of politics, he's vitally involved in his community, raising millions of dollars for children with disabilities, and starting the first seminary in a Texas prison to train long-serving inmates for ministry. He's been married to Jan, a former school teacher, for over 42 years. He's got 2 kids, Ryan and Shane, and 5 grandchildren. As a father myself of young children, I know that he shares this passion for ensuring that the Alamo is always around for our children, our grandchildren, and future generations of Texans. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Well, good afternoon. It is a great honor to be here and a lot of fun because I love the Alamo. I give a lot of speeches across the state and around the country. I want to thank the Daughters of the Republic of Texas for inviting me because I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on this day when the state of Texas declared its independence in 1836. And I'll talk about that in a moment. I want to give a sense of where you are. If you have just come here today for the first time, or if you've been here many times, you're on sacred ground. Like every other battlefield in the history of this country, it's sacred ground. People died for a cause bigger than themselves. A cause that this battle on this sacred ground changed the history of Texas, changed the maps of the United States forever, and stood for the principles of liberty and freedom that we embrace as a nation. The north wall was where that courthouse building is, or post office is. That's where the north wall was, about 30 feet into the front door. That's where Travis fell. You look over here, the Tennesseans and Davy Crockett, here. Just beyond this plaza was the front of the Alamo, and that's the place where Jim Bowie was convalescing from his wounds when he was killed, and where those stores across from us are that will one day be a beautiful museum on this hallowed ground is where the remaining wall was. 187 that we know men died, maybe more. 600 or 700 or more Mexican soldiers died in this place. And I'm proud of the city and the state and the private sector and those who love the Alamo and the Daughters of the Republic of Texas for saying we're going to restore this place to its rightful place in Texas and American history. See, the Alamo doesn't belong to San Antonio or to Texas. It belongs to our country because everything that happened here helps shape the future. I'm a product of the 50s and watching Walt Disney and Fess Parker as the first Davy Crockett I ever saw. And I met Phil Collins, who has donated so much of his personal collection to the Alamo for the future museum. And he did the same thing when I talked to him. I said, Phil, how did you become such an Alamo fan? He said, I watched Walt Disney like you did. And then we watched the John Wayne movie 100 times. And we grew up on it. And now my grandson, who's 7, when he was 4, I bought him an Alamo Fort, one of the originals from the 50s it was made, of tin and little rubber soldiers. And it's now what he loves most. And I brought him here when he was 5, and we came up through that plaza, around that corner, and he peeked under the tree and he saw the Alamo, he saw the mission. And he understood instantly at that young age what it meant to all of us. To the students who are here today from Fox Tech, and Jennifer, congratulations on your great work. We're proud of you. The musicians, the cheerleaders, we're proud of you. A great national anthem. You're the next generation to keep this memory alive. What happened here matters. On this day of independence, I want to tell you a few things you may not know. Many of you who are Alamo historians know, but maybe you don't know. There were 60 people who signed the Declaration of Independence from Mexico. 59 were delegates. The 60th was not a delegate, but he was the secretary on Washington to the Brazos when that Declaration of Independence was written. The Battle of the Alamo was already underway when they met on February 28th at Washington on the Brazos. And they were making a decision. Do we want to separate just from Mexico and be an independent country, a republic, or do we just want to restore the state back to the Constitution of 1824, which had given more freedoms than Santa Anna had recently given? They decided they wanted total independence. Now, the 59 signers who were delegates, only 2 were native Texans. Jose Antonio Navarro and Francisco Antonio Ruiz. There were 3 who signed that were born in Mexico, and the others had been here, most of them less than a year. These were young men, students, young men who had come to Texas for this great idea of liberty. And they signed that declaration that had been written in less than 36 hours while this battle raged on. You know the story of the Alamo. No help came, or very little. 32 men came from Gonzales. Others came over the wall to help, but there was no reinforcement. And you know of the famous letter that Travis wrote, Victory or Death. It reminds all of us in every generation that there are more important things than just us. There are things and principles and values that this country is founded upon and that will survive generation after generation. I'm proud that as Lieutenant Governor, we have appropriated, for the first time ever, $100 million towards the rebuilding of this sacred site. It was a tight budget year last year. I'll be very candid with you. Our budget only grew 0.2%. But I said on the first day, we're going to make it a priority to find the $75 million. We had appropriated $25 million the year before, $75 million more this year, so we can continue this project. It's the #1 tourist attraction now. Can you imagine what it will be when you can walk on this hallowed ground and see it for what it once was? No, we're not going to tear down the post office. But people will know that's the North Wall. And that will be a beautiful series of museums. And the cannons will return. And the whole history will be told, but the focus of it will be the history of the battle which people have embraced and learned for so many years. So thank you to the mayor, thank you to the county officials, thank you to the commissioner, thank you to the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, thank you to the business sector that has the big job of raising about $300 million. And they've done a great job so far. I'm proud to be here today. I remember the first time I came here and stood in front of that Alamo was in 1978. I was a young sportscaster by the name of Dan Patrick as well. I know there's another one. In Washington, D.C. And we were playing a team called the San Antonio Spurs with a guy called the Iceman. And we came down for those playoffs, and I was at a hotel on the Riverwalk, and I came over to see the Alamo, just like Phil Collins did the first time he came to America, to Texas. He made a trip when he was with the band Genesis. He said, I have to come to the Alamo. I had to come to the, I didn't really care about the NBA playoffs, quite frankly. I wanted to come to the Alamo, so I said, I'll go. Didn't dream of being the lieutenant governor of this state. Didn't dream of having a great personal Alamo collection, and didn't dream of being here today. I'm just blessed. And to every student here at Fox Tech, understand this. Whatever you want in life is within your grasp. Work hard, study hard, get an education, pursue your dreams. God gives each of you a unique and individual talent. If you follow your passion and you work hard, you will discover why this country is so great, because everyone can achieve their dreams. So thank you, San Antonio, for allowing me a few minutes in the Daughters of the Republic of Texas. And please forgive me, I have to catch a plane and get to Dallas. It's a busy time of the year with an election 4 days from now. So we're off, but thank you very much. God bless you. God bless the great state of Texas. And God bless the Alamo. Thank you all.